Well, I don't know a lot about Austrian basketball, but I like the young man we picked. He's an excellent basketball player. Played with Dwane at Utah. Fundamentally sound, physically ready, NBA ready body. But just like most young kids, he's just going to have to get used to the NBA game, the speed and quickness. But we really feel like it's going to translate to the NBA game.
There was obviously some talk about trades and chatter around the league. Were you close? Was I close? Were you involved in that kind of discussion?
Well, Masai was. They were on the phone all day. I don't know how close things were. You can ask him how close things were. Did a lot of looking around, talking around, as far as the pick was concerned, but nothing developed. And luckily, the guy that we wanted was there. I know Jeff and all the guys did a lot of work scouting this young man, and they know far more about him than I do. I saw him. He worked out in Buffalo. He had an excellent workout down there. Really, his speed and agility around the cones were really impressive with that. So again, it's an excellent insurance policy for us as far as the center position and power forward position is concerned.
When you say NBA ready, how close? You don't think.
Right. No, I'm old school when it comes to that. They're going to have to come in and earn it. He's an excellent young man. He's a worker. He plays extremely hard. He's a gym rat. And so that's what's exciting about him is the fact that the young man's going to work, come put his body on people. Excellent screener. Been well coached at Utah. He runs an NBA style of offense at Utah, which is very impressive. And also, too, I thought it helped Dwane a lot. And the other thing, too, he and Dwane are really close. Asked him some personal questions about Dwane. I'm waiting and tell Dwane about him when I see him. But he had some personal things to say about Dwane, and I'll ask Dwane when I see him.
When you go through a process bringing a guy in who does know a player on your team, do you talk to the player about him?
Yeah, Dwane was really, really complimentary of the young man as far as a worker, teammate, all the above, and vice versa. He was the same way with Dwane. So really impressed. Dwane was really impressed with him. Again, Jeff and all the scouts, saw him quite a bit during the season, was really impressed with him. So, and I was impressed with him in the workout in Buffalo. So it was one of those things, very engaging young man. Gym rat, student of the game. He knew about our team. Watched a lot of. We talked about the playoffs at the time, so he'd been watching the playoffs, and that's impressive. He wasn't. So that was a guy that spends his time watching the NBA, knows the NBA, and that's a big part of it.
Masai said the other day there wasn't much. This was Tuesday, I guess. There wasn't much, or Monday. There wasn't much of a consensus at that point. Was this guy? Did this guy become the consensus?
There's different opinions in the room. Always, that's what you want. But the overriding consensus was this young man, and which it should be. You want different opinions, and it's somewhere in the middle. Just like I always talk about our adjustments during the game. There's arguments, there's disagreements, but at the end of the day, we got to come to somewhere in the middle, and you usually get the truth. When you have disagreement, but at the end of the day, everyone in the room was behind this young man, and really excited about having him for our team.
Is he strictly a 5, or can you see him moving out?
No, Wayne just mentioned it right before I walked in here that he could see this young man playing the 4, and that's one great thing about Summer League. Playing with our guys in Summer League and coming in early like that is going to be a point where we can see. But that's a good point. Doug, is because we do have a hole at the 4 position, and his foot speed is really impressive as far as moving. So that's something we'll explore this summer in the Summer League.
So that was my question. You mentioned his footwork. We've seen that with JV over the years. How long it's taken him to adjust.
Right. No, his foot speed's a little bit quicker than JV's at the same stage, and that's what struck me with doing the cone drills was huge, as far as his speed and quickness. And according to the scouts, they were telling me how persistent he was in running, and watched a couple of games of him. And I tell you what, he rim runs every time, not every other time. He rim runs, so he's a good runner, persistent runner, which you want your bigs to do. But all the other fundamental things he does as far as screening. excellent passer out of the post in the high-low situation. So that would translate to him being able to play on the floor with JV some if if we see that this summer.
Size has been kind of almost downgraded. It's almost like the draft is turned upside down.
Right.
Not this last night, but generally. Do you guys in another time when there might have been a higher pick?
Well, no question, and that's a great point, Mike. The league is going small, and this young man's foot speed, will hopefully translate to that to be able to guard the guys on the perimeter, and so the league is changing. It's changing, but again, that's why you want guys with quick feet that runs persistently. He does an excellent job of sealing in the paint. Which is huge when he does rim run, or if he does get a mismatch down there, and make sure we punish him in that situation. But the game is changing, and I think our roster last year really helped us with Bismack, and hopefully this young man can come in and give us the same foot speed and quickness that you have, that give us the ability to switch in some of those situations. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Right. Excited. It really excited for both of them. It's been texting back and forth with both of them all day today. And Cal's excited for him, for DeMar. I always say 5 years ago, if you said those two young men would be Olympians, everybody would have, but those guys have put in the work. They've improved as players and become all-stars, now Olympians. And what bigger credit could you be to your franchise, to your family, and to your, to yourself than making yourself an all-star, and then to represent the U.S. As an Olympian. And my hat is off to those two young men. They deserve it. They've worked and earned it. Both young men. Kyle last summer was totally impressive. The way he transformed his body. DeMar DeRozan, over the years, as you all know, has come back, brought something new back to the game, back to the team each year, skill-wise, and just a total example of what you can do as a player and to improve and better yourself, to become an all-star, become an Olympian. Probably the two highest honors. And again, Kyle was third-team All-Pro. So my hat is off to both those young men.
Any selfish concern about them playing through the end of May?
No, they would have been in the gym somewhere playing. Probably, once you get there, I don't know how much they practice, Michael, and how much the game, how many minutes they get in the games, and I don't think those minutes will be taxing on the body. I promise you, Kyle runs those hills in Vegas a lot harder than he probably and longer probably than he'll. But again, that doesn't bother. I think the honor and the experience. And the experience, and those two guys will bring, hopefully DeMar comes back, but they bring it back to the team. All the stories that you've heard of the guys that go to the Olympics with the experience, go to the team and come back much better and share the experience and the work ethic and all that stuff, come back much better players and are able to share that with their teammates.